Hello everyone, so I'm here today to do another video for my Read Around the World challenge, and this time is going to be the southern part of South America. So if you haven't seen, I have already put a video for South America to the more northern countries, and now we are going to focus on the other half, and that includes Bolivia, Chile, Paraguay, Argentina and Uruguay. So yeah, let's just get into that. The first country is Bolivia, and for Bolivia I read Our Dead World by Liliana Colanzi, which is a collection of short stories ranging topics very much between indigenous life and sci-fi and all kinds of things, and for me it was okay. I did find some of the stories really impactful, especially like the indigenous ones. I thought they were very smart, but yeah, overall I'm not particularly into short stories, so it was just okay overall. So if you have any other book from Bolivia that you really like, that you think I would like as well, let me know, because I will be interested. For Chile, I have actually read quite a few other books, and I even put a video up last year for Invisible Cities talking about Chile and Chilean literature that I have read. But yeah, so if you're interested in particularly in Chile, I will also link that video down below, but for this video I wanted to mention When We Cease to Understand the World by Benjamin Labatut, which I read for the International Booker a couple of years ago, and it's about it's about scientists and how the new knowledge of the world that they discover affects them personally. It doesn't have anything to do with Chile, but I think it's still something interesting to read. And then I also want to mention, of course, Isabel Allende, who it's very well known, and I grew up with her books, so for me they have a nostalgic feeling. I don't think her new stuff is as good as her old stuff, but yeah, I enjoyed her books when I was younger. I particularly enjoyed the City of Beasts trilogy when I was young, and the House of Spirits, which is something I have been wanting to read for a really long time. Those are some recommendations for Chile. Of course there's a lot more. I think Chile is quite a prolific country in terms of literature that has also reached us, so that's always good. The next country is Paraguay, and this one was also part of Invisible Cities last year, and I read Hijo, hombre by Augusto Roa Bastos during that time. And this is actually about a war that was in Paraguay some time ago, and it's part of a trilogy. I've only read this one, but it's part of a trilogy that looks at the political situation of Paraguay. And even though I thought it was showing the reality of war and the reality of fight quite well, I didn't particularly felt like it was representing Paraguay that well. At least in my view, there was nothing like food-wise or location-wise that made me feel connected to Paraguay. So again, if you have Paraguayan recommendations, I will be very happy to look at those. And then for Argentina, again, I have read quite a few books from Argentina. I think also because growing up as a Spanish-speaking person, the main names from Argentina and Chile and Mexico and Colombia and all of these people do come to our culture and our schools. It's something that it's easier for us to explore. So Argentina was another of those countries that was quite prevalent in our system, let's say. But yeah, with that said, I do want to shout out Gabriela Cabezon Camara, especially The Adventures of China Iron. This was something I read a few years ago, again because it was in the International Booker Prize, and I loved it. I think that Gabriela Cabezon Camara has a really good grasp of how to use language and be very, very playful with language. It's really playful, and every time I was reading this book I was thinking like, kudos to the translator, because this is amazing. I thought that the translation captured what she was trying to do very well, and I can recognize it can be really difficult, and I was blown away by that. So I will recommend definitely The Adventures of China Iron. Some classic ones are José Luis Borges and Julio Cortazar as well. I read a couple of books from them when I was younger, but I don't remember them particularly well. But yeah, those are some names that are very big in Argentina. And then someone that I want to shout out as well, because I don't think it's very well known outside the Spanish-speaking world, is Mafalda, by Quino, which is a comic book kind of stripe, the kind of stripes that you find in the newspaper just for fun. And they are really funny. They are always very poignant and very funny in terms of like the humor combined with political unrest and things like that. Like, I remember there was this one thing that Mafalda is a kid and her mom was cleaning this glove that they had at home to learn geography, and the mom was saying something about it, and then Mafalda was like, oh, if it was so easy to clean the world. So that kind of humor, it's I'm not describing it very well, but I really enjoyed it when I was younger, and even now it's always very funny. So yeah, I would recommend that one too. And then finally, for Uruguay, one of my favorite authors is Uruguayan, and that's Eduardo Galeano. He unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but he's just so funny. He has this sarcastic humor that I really like, and he normally writes, I don't know how do you call it, but it's like flash non-fiction. He has a book called the Sons of the Days or something like that. That it's each day of the year, it has like a small 1 or 2 paragraphs describing something that happened on that day, historically. So, for example, for the 12th of October. He has something related to the fact that Columbus arrived to America on that day, and he says something like, that's the day when the indigenous people realized that they were naked and they were wrong and they were pagans and stuff like that. So he writes these little paragraphs every single day, and some of them are more interesting than others, but yeah, he's always very sarcastically poignant, and I really like all the things that I have read from him. He can write about any topic and will be interesting. I don't think he has any outright novels, but still the way that he writes, because it's so conversational and so funny, he makes it more interesting. Like, there's another book of his that it's about football, and each chapter like sort of talks about a different World Cup, and obviously World Cups are 4 years apart, so he starts every chapter like, this is the year and Fidel Castro is about to die, for like 20 years, because they were always saying that. So I don't know, there are these little things about his writing that I love, and I hope more people read him, because he's very funny and very good. I don't think I have read anything that is not Eduardo Galeano from Uruguay. I have Cantor by Carolina de Robertis in my TBR, but if you have any other recommendations, that will also be welcome. But yeah, those are my books that I selected from the south of South America, which means that we have kind of covered South America now, and the next section of these videos will be in Europe, because geographically that's how it makes sense to me. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have read any of these books, if you want to read any of them, if you have any recommendations from any of these countries. And until next video, bye!